Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7. And as you might have guessed, our new series is going to be the original Ultraman. Now, we will probably do these in two parts or two episodes a time because, as you can tell, I'm not going to have any of the sound effects on here because that's generally what gets me in trouble here with YouTube. So we're just going to try to avoid that altogether. We might get some monster roars or some beam sound effects, but I'm going to try to stay away from the music for very long. Be that as it may, Ultraman, 39 episodes, started in July 17th, 1966 for this very first one, which is called the Ultra Operation Number One, and they used a lot of shadows from Ultra Q, which is the previous series, which is in black and white. But it ran for 39 episodes until April 9th, 1967. So you're a very young agent, would not have seen this. It was syndicated right away into the States very quickly and dubbed by Titan or Tetra Productions. We're just going to freeze this for a moment here. That's Ultraman chasing Bemler, the monster Bemler, um, through the into the Earth's atmosphere, really. But before we get into this too far, please like, share, subscribe, vote in the poll, and if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on Spotify or wherever you are, just listen for a couple minutes longer than you normally would. Really appreciate it, and it helps the algorithms for everything. All right, so we're going to introduce the cast here as soon as we get in, see more of them. But the special effects are done by Eiji Tsuburaya. This is a big monster hit, pun clearly intended. And that's Hayata. That's Susumu Kurobe playing Shin Hayata. He was only called Hayata in the English dub. He was voiced by Earl Hammond, who did many, many dubs, including Mum-Ra and Thunder in the Thundercats and Jaga, whatever that is. I watched Thundercats. I don't remember much of it. So here we have Fuji, Akiko Fuji, I believe, and Captain Toshio Muramatsu. He was called Captain Mura in the English dub, and she was just only called Fuji. Akiji Kobayashi would later on become Pops Oyasan, Tobe Tachibana in Kamen Rider, and make many guest appearances all over the place. Very versatile actor. This is Hiroko Sakurai, whom I've met, and a very wonderful person. She was dubbed by Corrine Orr in the English dub. She's only called Fuji. They're only called by their last names. Bin Furuya played Ultraman. We'll see him momentarily. Doesn't refer to who dubbed Captain Mura, but Fuji was dubbed by Corrine Orr, of course. I believe I said that. And let's get on. So they're jibber jabbering here, looking about because Hayata's reported UFOs. They don't know what they are at this point in time. Apparently she's, very fancy. This is, the pilot episode, so to speak. So you get to see all kinds of nifty gadgets and things. This came from the Internet Archive, and it's all in Japanese. This might be from the recent Blu-ray release. These are just gorgeous. Bunch of hippies. And there's the Bemlar landing. Derp. And we'll see the crux of the story here momentarily, or at least the origin of how Ultraman came to Earth. That looks like Gilligan's Island, doesn't it? And they're sticking around with explosions in the water and all kinds of things. I don't think we see Bemlar right away, but I'd be out of there in a hurry because there is one of the VTOLs. This would later on become the Science Patrol's outer spaceship, or a ship that went to outer space. Let's see. Does it say what the SSSP? There he goes. Ultraman just crashed in and killed Hayata. And so we're going to see Ultraman here. Oh, Fuji. No, did I pass it all? No. All right, so let's talk a little more here. Um, I'll quit moving back and forth so quickly. Let's get to the next guy there. That would be Arashi, who was played by, his name is Daisuke Arashi, played by Sandu Dokomamushi. Sorry if I butchered that name. He was also later in um, Ultra 7. He was their marksman and was given, he would shoot at the monsters a lot. And what do we have here? The tape recorder is still running, and Fuji's still trying to catch him. Here we go. There's the VTOL that's used the most. VTOL means, of course, vertical takeoff and landing. Hayata's ship is exploded, and the hippies are still hanging out. They're probably not hippies; they're just campers. And there's Hayata lying dead. Now, in this, you can actually see his eyes moving, which is you wouldn't see in a black and white television or a color RCA or Zenith television in the 60s. Uh-oh, what is happening? Dun dun dun. And of course, it's Ultraman bringing Hayata into his craft, or I don't know exactly, but the round spaceship makes an appearance at the end of the series as well, or travel mode. There's Hayata, and there's our first glimpse at the man from beyond the stars, Ultraman, from M78. He was played by Boon Furuya, who would later on be in human form in Ultra 7. I think he might be the marksman, but so they're talking about what's happening. He feels bad. Right, here's the beta capsule he's about to give to Hayata so he can transform into Ultraman. Oops. And we'll go back a minute here. I thought we'd get a nifty spaceship sound here. Kaboom! But we don't know what happened to Hayata now. And here's the rest of the Science Patrol. Right here is Ito, as he's known in the US dub, but he was Matsuhiro Ide, played by Masaniro Nihei, and he was called Ito. This Wikipedia says Ito, but I think either one works. He is the inventor, and he's also the comedy relief. So they're looking for Hayata, but there's just been a big explosion, and they're talking to the people about it, and now there's something mysterious in the lake. And lastly, we have Hoshino here. That he's played by Akihide Suzawa as Isamu Hoshino. They say he's identified as Fuji's younger brother in the dub. It's been a minute since I've watched the English dub, but he's not. There's a later on they have another young man in the show about 30 episodes from now. Yeah, 30, and he might be her younger brother. So that's our main cast. There are many guest stars all over the place, and this first episode was directed by Hajime Tsuburaya, Eiji's son, and it's a good one. It's a good introduction. It's not the most exciting one, and Bemlar is definitely not the most exciting creature. But see, something's going on underwater, and I bet these boneheads are still floating around. Do they? Where are the weapons here? Mm-hmm. Do they have anything? Monsters filming production. Subaru knew they had a hit, and they started marketing these right away. There's their radioactive warning device, which means Bemlar is radioactive. There he is, and we get to see the spider shot right away. Those are their nifty ray guns. They do some damage. They don't even aim at his eyes, but they look pretty cool. The phones, whenever the phones ring in the Science Patrol building, it's got a name, and I just don't remember it, and I'm sorry. It's SSSP, and I just don't remember it. Lovely miniatures here, really well done. I mean, they put a lot of money into this, and it showed. And Oshina's a crybaby. And they're back at the lake. Come on, guys. Fuji's here because Hayata has told him to show up. There's their little nifty color buttons, which predate Star Trek The Next Generation by a good 30 years or more. So they're making fun of Fuji for being an hysterical woman. I'm going to see if we can go back here and find some. Bemlar was the name of the was supposed to be the star of the show, but they changed it into an actual superhero just because it was a better idea, really overall. SSSP. Well, tell me what it means. Scientific Special Search Party, and then we called it the Science Patrol. That's all we knew it as. So Bemlar has appeared a few more times. He's called a ruthless alien reptile-like monster that escaped from the monster graveyard. This is probably all retcon, but his subtitle was Space Monster, Bemlar. 50 meters, same height as Ultraman. Again, not the most uh, um, exciting, but they shot on. This is on location. They just went. They established a lot of things. Subaraya did. Let's see. What do we have here? Suit actors. It says there's only three, but I think there were four English people who dubbed in the show into English, and they might have brought in extra voices. They were never credited in the English dub at all. Let's see. Oh, and the opening thing there, which we didn't hear, was composed by Kunio Miyauchi, who would have done Ultra Q, and then later on did a wonderful score for Godzilla's Revenge. So there's the sub, the S16. Does it tell me does it have? I'm looking at the Ultra Fandom wiki, which isn't really telling me anything about whether or not what they have here. Gallery, voice actors, music. No. Others, impact. Yeah. But it's a nifty little. I mean, they put everything in. They threw everything in this except for a great monster design. Sorry, Bemlar. Bemlar. In the dub, it sounds like he says Bevlar every once in a while. Obviously, this is shot in a tank with a wave to make it look like he's underwater, but you can always tell. So he's going to go. Hayata's going to go torment Ultra Bemlar for a while, probably because it's really Bemlar's fault for being a jerk and killing him. Okay. Yep, right in the. They're surprised when the monster comes out of the water. It's a good-looking monster. It's just, he's. I don't know. There are better monsters coming up, much better. So we'll only do this first episode in this one, and the rest of them we'll probably do two each time because you don't need to see all of this. Everyone watching has probably seen that. It's really well shot too. Let's see here if I can find. Well, why don't they have the episodes? That's what I really need to get to. Bemlar. Yeah, it's not too much. That's Ryuga Mori Lake, and that's where you have all of that. And there, Bemlar does have a weapon for something as ruthless as he's tiny little T-Rex arms. So Hayata's blasting him in the back. Not being very sportsmanlike now, is it? Which keeps sending him up there. Yep. To get him out of the water so the VTOL can blast him. It doesn't credit who was in the Bemlar suit there. And Hayata's getting a little cocky here. Yeah, you think that was a mistake there, Hayata? All right. There's Bemlar's beam. Later on, when the effects got a little, let's backtrack just a tiny bit. He's thrown the ship out of his mouth. Hayata's unconscious. There we go. Looks a lot like Godzilla's, doesn't it? I mean, exactly. Doesn't sound like it. Backtrack just a tiny bit. Told you we'd get a little sound effects in here every once in a while. Crash. The Foley artists are amazing with great sound effects. Even sounds like Godzilla's beaten, doesn't it? All right. Let's quiet you down a bit. You know, he's obviously evil. He's laughing at it, and he's going to go stomp the ship. Oh, look, there's some blood. This series was pretty violent, as we'll see. Some of it got edited out here and there. Better wake up, Hayata. Oh, there we go. And we're about to see one of the most famous transformations ever, for the first time. It's never really explained how the beta capsule works, if it's part of Ultraman or something like that. At least this VTOL has seatbelts, unlike cartoon giant robots. There it is. Using the beta capsule, Hayata becomes Ultraman. That's what he just said. Though they're the same size, yeah, about. The actor playing Ultraman, Bin Furuya, is quite tall. So that's one of the reasons he was chosen. When he'd work with Nakajima-san, Haruo Nakajima, the actor who played the original Godzilla, they would choreograph the fight scenes. This one had to have some choreography to it, but they would say if that was Nakajima-san in there, if it was him. And I don't believe it is. So there's much fighting. Due to the color timer is there to give Ultraman a sort of weakness, so they wouldn't just show up in the first 5 minutes of the show and destroy the monster, be done. He can only be in the Earth's atmosphere because the atmosphere stops his solar energy, the color timer, from absorbing the solar energy that he needs to use. But he's also got a kill shot here, which this is a latex rubber suit, I believe, probably patterned after a it looks like it's waterproof, so I'm thinking a scuba suit. If you wanted to read a lot more about Eiji Tsuburaya and Ultraman, I would highly recommend August Dragoni's Eiji Tsuburaya Master of Monsters, because it's wonderful. It's just a great book. It's so great, I wish there were two of them. Back into the water he goes. So he was going to take him back. Apparently, Ultraman was taking him back to the monster graveyard, which we'll see in about 35 episodes, which is my favorite episode. But back then, that was not known either. I mean, it might have been in the Japanese dub. I could ask Augie. And that's a really nice little shot there. You can kind of see his face. There's the Spacium Ray. That means we did it. Or he did it. Yatta! Great little. The Ultraman grunt as he yells and flies away. And so they're looking for Ultraman. But fortunately, look who they find. It's Hayata with a nice little match shot. And they want to know where he's been, of course. Oh, let's get away the music. So he shows up. They're all running to him happily. They leave Fuji and, I don't know, probably Captain Rura can't look too uncool as to run. How are you alive? Oh, the spaceman saved me. I've watched the English version quite a few times. No. So you can hear the theme in the background there, which is a nice little theme. It was sung. The English version is sung by the Serendipity Singers, and I do make fun of their music. They were very talented people singing. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But yeah, how does that sound? It sounds ultra good. Oh, he'll be around. We're about to the end of this episode, agents. I hope you've enjoyed my little review. We'll get more in depth into the actual, more things here. Science Patrol, and there they go. And the show just ends. I mean, the in the United States, there was a title card on on the episodes at the end for United Artists who had released the show. And come on, go back. I need you to be embiggened, at least that big. So, um, well, let's go to here. Oops. Um, dang it. Play. Oh, so we'll just pause it here so you can see where I got it from. Internet Archive. We'll just watch the Ultra Q theme show up again, or the paint swirls. It's just an iconic opening, and they've all done some version of it. Most of the shows have. So it's a really great show. I love it. I wish I'd have been able to see more of it. I only ever saw 3 episodes growing up, but combining monsters, giant monsters with a superhero and ray guns. Yeah, it had hit written all over it. I believe it was syndicated in '67 in the States, and it might have been shown here in Fossil Bed. If it was, I never saw it once. I only saw it back in West Virginia, broadcast on WDCA Channel 20, the greatest station in the world. My cousins got to see it all the time. They got to see Johnny Sacco, Speed Racer, Spider Man, DC Filmation superheroes, live action Batman, clean into the 70s, maybe into at least into the late 70s. Not here. We got I Love Lucy and Leave It to Beaver. We did get the Adventures of Superman from the 50s in 78 when the Superman movie showed up. And Star Trek was a perennial, although every once in a while Big Valley would take over, and I'm still salty about that. But I never got to see Ultraman out here. Didn't even get to see Giant Robot out here, Johnny Sacco. I saw that in Kansas. So, agents, every Thursday we'll be watching an episode or two, probably 2 of this. It won't be nearly as long, just for fun, with my pithy commentary overall. So, I hope you've enjoyed it, and until our next adventure, this is X7 signing off.